Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to be using this little set from Rabbit Hole Designs. This is mermaid hair. I realize that I am into October, but I made this card quite some time ago. I just never got around to voicing over the video, and I figured I should probably get it shared before we're like full blown into Halloween and Christmas cards. Because like yesterday, let's talk about the card real quick. So here it is pretty sped up because this is my first attempt, and so far my only attempt, though I plan on making more of them, at a flat shaker card, which was really super inspired by Amy from Prairie Paper Inc. So if you don't know who she is, I would definitely go check her out. She's super talented. And she was making them all over the place and I loved them and I wanted to give it a try, and I thought that this would be a really fun way to do that. But I am doing a technique where I create kind of like sun rays in the water. It just kind of makes more of a fun background. So I had picked up at this time, I had just picked up my new to me distress inks, which was the prize ribbon, the kitsch flamingo, and what's the patina one called? I don't remember. What is it? Oh my gosh, y'all. You know what I'm saying now. That's the one. I'm like trying to like peek as I look through my distress inks because I can't remember the name of it. Oh my gosh. Pregnancy brain for real. But anywho, here what I'm doing is I have some masking paper. I use the Eclipse masking paper, but you could certainly use any of them and it would totally be fine. Oh, is that it? Nope, there's Lucky Clover. Nope. What are you? Salvaged patina. Lord have mercy on our souls. We finally got there. I could not let it go. I apologize. So anyway, once I got them all marked off and I numbered them, then I went ahead and trimmed them down so that they would be straight. And now I'm going to line them up and put them on my card. So that way I have a lighter color in the background and a lighter color and a darker color so that you can actually see the like streams of light. There's a bunch of different ways that you could use this technique, but this is how I chose to use it, and I do use it pretty often in my underwater scenes. But anyway, so at the same time that I ordered this, I also ordered 2 Halloween sets from Rabbit Hole Design, and last night, was it last night? Night before last? I finished my cards with the Halloween themed stamps, which I totally love. And I was like, I can't post these. I haven't even posted the summer card that I made. So I figured I should probably, this video has been edited for quite some time. I just haven't voiced it over. There's been other things that were due. And so they kind of won out before this video went up. I'm sure I could have put out more videos in the week, but that would require more effort on my part. And quite frankly, I'm tired. And I sleep a lot. And my husband works super hard to make sure I can do those things. Just because we're so far along in this right now, I just don't sleep well at night. And, you know, any energy that I have is being used up by my growing child. So, anywho, back to the card. So with these in place, I am adding in more color. It's the same color right on top of the other colors, but you could certainly mix it up if you wanted to do some color layering. That would be totally acceptable as well. I just really kind of wanted a fun little ocean background. And I didn't want to do just straight blue. I wanted to try out my new colors, which I was not disappointed with any of them. I really, really liked them. And as we talked about in the last video, I'm excited for the next one to come out. Typically, somebody had asked me in the comments of that video if I usually buy them right away, and I don't. I wait and see if it's something that I think that I will use. I have all the originals like all the original colors that came out of the Distress inks. And then somebody else had also asked me in a video how I determine when I'm using Distress inks versus Distress oxides. And I do tend to reach for my Distress inks more often than my Distress oxides. And that's just because I like a brighter, bolder color. The Distress oxides cover so much better. Like, so, oh my gosh, guys, so much better. I will never deny that. They're easier to ink blend. They are definitely more opaque, more solid. But they are not as bright because they dry back with that chalk finish. And so typically I reach for my Distress inks unless there is a particular type of look that I'm going for, then I will use my oxides. So here I stripped them away. You can see my my little light stripes here. And in order to just kind of blend these in a little bit more and give it more of that underwater look, I am going back in with Salty Ocean and just kind of adding that in, so that it does look a little bit more blue, a little bit more under the water kind of, which is the vibe I was going for. I had never seen a flat shaker. Here I put the opposites, yeah, the opposite numbers in place so that I could do some perfect pearls in the light rays, like how you would see the water droplets or like in mist or something like that. I thought that that would be a fun little extra way to add some shine and make the background more interesting. And so I'm using the opposites to protect the darker parts. And this is only going in the lighter areas. And then once I am done with that, I'll remove those. And then I think pretty much the background's done for now. I'm trying to remember if I did anything else. Like I said, it has been quite a while since I made this card. But you'll be able to see them in the light here shortly. So that way it kind of pushes that darker spots to the back. For the images, I only used that little whatever 3x4 stamp set, which just goes to show you that you don't need to spend a ton of money to come up with a really creative, fun card. I super loved the little mermaid hair, don't care. I thought it was adorable, and it's got fish in it, and so I'm going to use those. I'm going to use this mermaid here on the background for placement, because when I actually attach it, I'm going to be doing it on the outside of the, I almost said cellophane. That's not the word that I want. What is it? You know what I'm saying? The plastic bag. Acetate. There we go. So here I'm going to stamp her down, but then I'm also going to stamp a bunch of fish in the background. And I'm sure you're probably thinking, Kelly, you've already colored the background. It's too late to stamp the fish. And if I wanted those fish to be brightly colored and in the foreground, you would be correct. But that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for background fish. These fish on my white paper are my foreground fish. So I'm not concerned about the ones in the background. They are just to give us some depth. So we're going to color these with Copic markers, the fish and the mermaid. And I think at some point I do have to speed these up as well, because again, it's a long video. When you create a background yourself from white paper and then do Copic coloring, and then you're building an interactive card, forget about it, y'all. We're going to be here minimum 30 minutes, even with all the mad editing that I do. So, anywho, I am hoping for, somebody had asked me about the Distress inks. What did I tell you? Oh, they asked me how I pick them. I answered that question. They asked me about the colors. No, I don't buy them all. I think that covered that whole thing. I have to go back sometimes because words escape me. What was the word that I was trying to think of the other day? Paper bag. I kept wanting to say cardboard. Like, my brain knew that they were both brown, but I could not come up with the word paper bag. Eric finally had to give it to me. It was something. Um, but yeah, so we're getting ready to move on to Halloween. Uh, my I don't think he's disappointed. I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's me who's disappointed. So every year since Nathan has been just a wee little one, we have dressed up and matched for Halloween together. And I knew that eventually that was going to come to an end, and eventually he was going to want to hang out with his friends, and, whatever he wanted to be for Halloween wasn't going to mesh with something that I could be. And I knew that that was going to come. I didn't think it would be at 8. I'm be real with y'all. But this year, because we're due on November 3rd, I have no idea what my situation's going to be. I don't know if I'm still going to be enormously pregnant. I don't know if I am going to be, 2 weeks, 2 days, 2 hours post baby having. Like, I have no idea what our situation is going to be. And so consequently, it would be very, very silly for me to spend the money on a Halloween costume, knowing full well that the chances that I would be able to wear it would be slim and none. So we picked out, when we were at Target, we picked out this little jack-o'-lantern shirt, which puts like a little jack-o'-lantern face on your pregnant belly. I'll be real with you. It's only going to be cute if I'm still pregnant. Otherwise, I'm just going to be, saggy postpartum baby belly with a jack-o'-lantern on it. And that's not really that cute, I don't think. But I'm going to try to make the best of the situation. So we'll have to see. But he finally, this year, does want to go trick-or-treating with his friends. Typically, he has gone with his cousins, but because he has made some friends in the neighborhood, he does want to go with them. And so it looks like Eric will actually be off this year, which is crazy because normally he has to work. But because of FMLA, he is leaving work a smidge early just to try to get the house in order and stuff before this child arrives. But I don't even know if we're going to go that long. Nathan was 2 weeks early. This child is... We just had an updated appointment today. We are 36 weeks on Friday, which is also when we get our next ultrasound. And today at 35 and a half weeks, we are measuring at 39 weeks. Like, I knew that I was extra uncomfortable, and I knew, like, my third trimester with Peanut was super uncomfortable, but I just felt like this was maybe a little bit more, and now that makes sense to me, because I never saw 39 weeks with Nathan, because I had him 2 weeks early. So I will be very interested to see what the ultrasound shows. I am certainly not going to look a gift horse in the mouth, though, because one of the major concerns with the 2-vessel umbilical cord is being underweight, and that does not seem to be like that's going to be a situation for us, which I am very grateful for. So we'll have to see what they say at the ultrasound on Friday. Back to the card. So here you could see that I blended her hair. I did like a lightish blonde brown into some teal, which is definitely homage to my friend Jen Shirkus, who does wear her hair that way and claims to be a mermaid. And so I was thinking of her when I was doing it. But then for the tail, I wanted to do a little bit of color blending as well. I thought that would be super fun. So I chose pink to purple to the teal color. And the only trick just with blending that you want to be aware of is the colors that you're blending into each other. The second number, at least when it comes to Copics, I can't help you with other markers. I mean, I can teach you with other markers to color, but I can't help you with what their numbers mean, because I don't know. But like, so I used an RV04 and a VO4 and then a BG45. So see how it's 445? They're going to be close enough in intensity that they should blend together really well. And they did. I didn't really have any issues. From there, I started picking colors for my fishes. If you were around 2-3 years ago, the fish saga that I went through with Nathan, we were trying to make those fish work and they just kept dying. They just kept right on dying. So me and the fish aren't necessarily friends to keep in my home, but I do think they're super pretty and they add a fun element to any sort of underwater card. And again, I realize that this is not, you're going to be seeing a lot of cards from other people that are fall, that are Halloween, that are even coming up on Thanksgiving-ish, Christmas, just because of the way that this industry releases their product. And it's not even just them. I shouldn't say this industry because I went to Hobby Lobby like 2 weeks ago and they had Christmas stuff up. Insanity. It was still September. What was even happening? I'm not sure. But I did use the color blending trick on several of the fish just to make them more interesting because I didn't have that many fish that were going to be brightly colored and in the forefront. So, once those were all colored, then I went back in with a white gel pen. And this is a little trick that I learned from a coloring class that I took from Kit and Clouder, which is their wonderful coloring class. And maybe I'll take some of the classes that I've already paid for while I'm out on my maternity leave. Probably not, but wishful thinking. So, but it does offer a little bit of like kind of a sparkly look, which I love. And so I did that to the fish and I did that to her tail. Here I'm going in and coloring these background fish that we talked about. Yes, I know it's not as bright. Yes, I know the color is way more subdued. Yes, I know I'm coloring over distress inks. All of those things are fine because they're background fish. They're fish that are meant to be in the background to give us some dimension from the fish that are in the foreground. Here you can also see she's got a little jellyfish that's stamped next to her, and I colored that as a background jellyfish, not in the forefront jellyfish, because realistically I wasn't cutting that thing out. Look how little it is. But yeah, so we have our 36-week ultrasound. I will be very interested to hear the weight of this little peanut I've got growing, because it seems like they're growing quite well. That they're a good eater. But so I went through and outlined all of my fish and my mermaid because that's how I roll. I like a bold black outline. And then from there, once that was done, I did go in and fussy cut them out. I can't remember. Was there dyes? I can't remember if there was dyes or not. If there was dyes, I will link them just in case you're not a fussy cutter. But if there were dyes, I did not purchase them. So sometimes you just gotta old school it. You gotta fussy cut. And so that's what I'm doing here. Tips for fussy cutting. Keep it on the camera, which I struggled to do, obviously. But then also cut with your dominant hand and rotate the paper with your non-dominant hand to have a cleaner edge. And then afterward, I did go in with a non-alcohol, that's important, non-alcohol marker. This is a water-based marker with black to just kind of clean up the edges. I spared you the setting up of all of the items because this video is already so long. So I have everything kind of in place for how I want to do it. What I'm trying to figure out here is the fish that I am going to glue down before I build the shaker part. And I had to have everything in place in order to know where I was putting them down at. I hope that makes sense. So once that's done, I took a picture of the way that it looked. And then I cleaned off the other things so that I could build the shaker portion. So here you can see I got background fish, I got a foreground fish, and then I have some packaging. This is just packaging from a stamp set that I had left over. Um, and then, so Amy had like these little pockets in one of her videos. And I thought, well, okay, let me try that. Let me see if I can do the little pocket shtick where you just put the card right in, fill it up with the stuff, and then seal it in there. And that was a no-go. That did not work for me. So I'm showing you all of the things that I did not do correctly because it's important for you to know that everybody makes mistakes. So here I've cut the little bag and it's sealed at the bottom, and I was trying to see if I could use that. I have some pretty good adhesive here. I think this is actually from scrapbook.com. I'm not positive. I don't use a lot of rolly adhesive, but so now I'm going to try, this is hysterical. I'm going to try to get the card with the adhesive on it into said bag. Let me tell you that it did not work. It didn't work. We're stuck here. This is the level that we're stuck at. I couldn't get it off. I couldn't slide it in. It was just an absolute mess. So what I ended up doing was cutting off the, what is that even called? Like the hangy portion part. And then I cut the packages into two. I'm going to trim off this part where it bends over as well. Just because I don't need that in my card. So I'm going to put that down. I'm going to get my paper cutter just so my lines are straight. I'm going to put that in, and then I'm going to trim off the part that bends. So now I'm going to have like a acetate sleeve, if you will. And then I'm going to use, I think I had to start it with my scissors. I think I tried to pull them apart and they wouldn't go. So I had to just snip the seam a little bit with my scissors, and then I was able to just kind of pull them apart. Just go slow, be careful, or you can use your scissors. I was worried I wouldn't have a straight line the whole time. And then I did the same thing with the seam on the other side. So now I have two pieces parts. I'm only going to use one today. And now I'm going to put the adhesive side up. So normally you wouldn't, you know what I mean, what I'm saying, you wouldn't have adhesive on the back of it already if you didn't try to do what I did. But so here, you're going to put it in, then you put your adhesive on, and then you can start to fold your corners over. I did learn in doing this, so like the first one I just folded up, and I ended up with a part that wouldn't stick here in the corner. See here? And so you could put more adhesive down, or you can trim it off. So that's what I did. I kind of pulled it out and then trimmed off the excess, and then I put down extra tape. You'll see on the next one, I think it's a little bit easier to tell, but basically you just want to seal your corners. So with the next corner, I realized I needed to fold it in first. Why am I off the screen? Kelly, get it together. So I folded in the corner first and then folded over the edge. That way it was sealed and I didn't have to do any trimming or extra taping. So now you have the top part that's still open. Here you can see it there. I pulled out some confettis and some glitters. You can use whatever you have on hand. In this case, I had purchased some confetti from Honeybee Stamps that had like seashells and stuff in it because I knew I was going to make this card. And that's what I am using here. I thought it was super, super cute to have kind of like the shells shaking around in there. You can put in as much or as little as you want. I kind of got a little heavy-handed, I'm not going to lie. And then I also put in some distress glitter as well. And just kind of used the end of my pokey tool from Honeybee to scoop that in. I had pulled out some silver glitter, but I didn't end up using it. It just, I was worried that it wouldn't go. So now once that is in there, again, I still have the adhesive on the back. I'm going to add just a smidge more over the plastic part, and then I'm going to fold in the corners and fold over the top so everything is sealed, and then shake that bad boy around. You got yourself a flat shaker, edge to edge. Yeah. I thought they were super cool and a lot of fun, I'm going to be honest. So I shook the shaker bits to the top of the card just so I could do the glooming of my mermaid, which I am going to glue to the outside acetate. Again, so now we've created these multiple levels. You have the sun rays in the back, you have our background fish, you have our foreground fish, and then you have like the up front and center focal point mermaid and fish that are going to go on the outside of the flat shaker. Here I realize that I haven't put my backer on yet. Now I'm starting to stick to the background, so I really do need to adhere it to a card base or a backer to even just get through the rest of the video because it was so sticky. But yeah, so I'm going to put that on there and then just, carefully line it up so I don't have to trim off really any excess. And then that way I can keep working on it without it giving me a hard time. So my mermaid's on there, and then I'm going to start moving this around so that I can glue my fish flat at different points. And I do have my phone, remember how I took the picture? I do have my phone off to the side so I could just kind of see where I had originally put the fish so that everything looked cohesive and balanced when there wasn't a bunch of shells shook in the background. You just want to be careful, like you don't get any of your fish over the edge. If you do, you're going to want to trim them off. For the sentiment, I kept it super simple, and that's why I didn't even show the stamping of it. I just stamped black on white on a label and then adhered them right to the card. So here is the whole completed card. I hope that you found some inspiration. I know it's the wrong season, but still pretty cool concept. So thanks, Amy, for the inspiration, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Bye.